Everyone's costumes look even better than I thought. Raine pointed to a metal-skinned Philip in the corner, who danced slowly with Sarah. The kitsune was covered with bright feathers and realistic-looking wings. Everyone's outfits had come together well over the last couple of weeks. Adrian hadn't paid much attention, since he hadn't planned to wear one, but a small sliver of regret wedged itself in his heart. William danced with Evie several yards away. He'd played against his Ifrit nature, with his blue skin and the icicles that covered his body. Light illusionary flames burned around Evie's orange-red dress. A sapphire statue of a girl waved at Adrian. He recognized the statue as Christy after a moment and nodded to his other friends before he headed her way. He scrutinized her intently, not sure where the dress ended and the girl began. Magic radiated off the costume, but she looked like someone had carved her out of a giant gemstone. "You made it," she said. "I wasn't sure. I was busy running around and helping with some last-minute stuff, and then I thought, oh, I don't see Adrian, but he said he'd come, and I know he's not the kind of guy to skip good practice, and he agreed to this as practice." Adrian adjusted his bow tie. "I did at that." He extended his arm. "Would you like to dance?" "Oh, look at you. Maybe you don't need as much practice as I thought." Christy accepted his arm and smiled as he led her out to the dance floor. Despite her appearance, her arm was soft and warm. As they swayed to the music, the elf tried not to frown. He'd looked forward to this, but he wasn't sure why. The truth was that he knew how to dance, and he knew how to not make a fool of himself in a formal situation. He tried to convince himself that he didn't want to hurt Christy's feelings, but something else was there and he couldn't fully grasp it in his mind. "There are so many great costumes here tonight." Christy nodded to a smiling boy with a bowler hat and suit who stood in the corner and chatted with a few freshmen. "Dorvu is dressed as a library gnome. Isn't that awesome?" Adrian chuckled. "Isn't it redundant to shapeshift and wear a costume on top of it?" "He wanted to join in the fun," he said. A nervous flicker passed over her face. "Is something wrong?" He glanced over his shoulder but only saw more people dancing in costumes. "No, why would you say that? Nothing's wrong. Everything's going great. My costume came together, and I didn't know if it would because some of the spells didn't work at first, and you know how that goes. And then I was worried about what I'd do if the spell didn't work out, and all that, you know?" She laughed quickly. "I see." The elf blinked a few times. He wasn't sure if he didn't understand girls or he simply didn't understand Christy. "I forgot to tell you the other day. Great job at the match. Go Cardinals. Woo!" He looked around for Hilda, but all the costumes made it impossible to determine if the girl was even there. "It was more Hilda than me." "No, that's not true. You have to lead from the top and all that. Nobody ever says, cut off the dragon's tail and then the rest will die." Christy winced. "Whoa, I never thought about how nasty the actual saying is. I'll have to apologize to Dorvu later for even thinking about the regular version. Do you think he'll be mad?" "I don't think he'll be mad. He's very reasonable. Sometimes I wonder if all dragons are as reasonable." There was something comforting about the way she could cram so much conversation into mere seconds. When they'd first met, he'd thought she was rude before he simply accepted that the girl was in her own world, and she always meant well. The ballad ended, and he smiled at her. "This is more fun than I expected. I'm not sure if I needed the practice, but it's nice to relax with a friend." Christy nodded quickly, but the nervous look remained on her face. Yes, relaxing with a friend. That's what I'm doing here. Relaxing with a friend." Raine sighed in contentment. She and Cameron had taken a break from dancing and rested at one of the tables spread around the edge of the dance floor. Another boy from their military history class stepped off the dance floor. She didn't really understand his costume. He wore a long, ugly gray coat, boots, and a short-sleeved t-shirt. A metal button on his coat read, "I love Jessie Reyes." Light magic radiated off the tattoos that covered his arms. "Hey, Cameron, do you have a sec?" the boy asked. "There's something I wanted to ask you about, that essay on the Battle of Kenai." The shifter looked at Raine for her approval. "I wanted to get some punch anyway," she said to him. She nodded to the boy and wandered off. "Who are you supposed to be, anyway?" Cameron asked. "I'm the Granite Ghost," the boy declared proudly. "Who?" "You know, James Brownstone, the bounty hunter. He's only like the most famous bounty hunter in the world." The boy rolled his eyes in disgust. "Oh." Cameron didn't sound impressed.